now we go to Steve Chen. Steve Chen is the head of learning previously with Berjaya Group, very, very accomplished HR, also with INTI College, with NagaWorld in Cambodia, as well as Tesco, worked with UK, some UK hotels, and Naim in Kuching is very accomplished, very seasoned learning development expert. He will talk about leading changes, leading breakthrough changes. How do you lead changes? Because people are scared of change. The fear of change is there. So you talk about getting buy-in, a bit of that, and a sense of urgency, which is passing on to you from Dr. Henry. Steve, take over.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, everyone. I see some familiar face here. Can you hear me? Good. Okay, let's straight to the topic. Now, this is what we're going to cover today. I'm going to be very short and compact. We talk about self versus change in current convicts, and also about the formula of 10 versus 90, and how's your reaction towards the change now. And when we have time, we talk a little bit about emotional states. Let's go about change is happening nowadays with the convicts, and what is happening now. We have changed our lifestyle, changed the way we work, changed our personal life is changed now. And some of the changes are forced or imposed on you. And a lot of people are afraid to be changed, afraid of change, because you know why? It's because of fear, right? And the change in the organization, most of the time take longer time to be successful. Some of them fail it halfway. Why? Because the research shows us most of the time, the challenges faced, 39% is because the employee refuse to change or they have a resistance to change. And second point is management behavior, probably the support, the sponsors doesn't support the change, right? And of course, the other factor will be about 28% short of resources, budgets, and tools. Now, let's talk about personal change. Why employee resist to change, right? If you look at this chart, I think most of you are comfortable. This is comfort zone. And you know that most of us like to stay in the comfort zone. We like our own space. And when your bosses, when your leaders stretching your zone, your comfort zone, most of them say, oh, this is something that I do not like. I don't feel comfortable. You know why? This is something that I never done it before. Have you heard about a lot of organizations or employees telling you, let's try a new technology in the company, or let's try a new method. Most of them, or some of them will reply to you, say, I would like the way they would do things for the past few years. No? The old way of doing things is because they are so comfortable with the old way. And we ask them to stretch out. Not everybody's their comfort zone or able to stretch or extend the comfort zone easily. So I want to share with you today how you as a personal or you as the corporate leaders or managers in the corporates to understand this comfort zone, right? You have to extend the comfort zone and find opportunity outside of the comfort zone. Now, we're going to do one of these icebreakers because changes, individual approach changes differently. Either it's reactive or proactive. Well, this is just a summary. Changes happen. The people who proactive approach change, we call it navigator. They foresee the change, they do the thing up front, they navigate the change, they embrace the change. But majority of society, even like convicts happening now, before under reactive, means things happen, we react. Some of them are survivors, some of them are victims of the change. And you must understand change is always a process, it's not an event, right? But with that, I would like you to do a simple activity, just follow the instructions. Everybody ready? Give me a thumbs up. You ready for activities? Ready? Okay. Now, this is the activities. We have very short time. I want you to just concentrate on videos. After that, find the answer to solve this, right?
Taking that internship in a remote mountain lab might not have been the best idea. Pulling that lever with the skull symbol just to see what it did probably wasn't so smart either. But now is not the time for regrets, because you need to get away from these mutant zombies fast. With you are the janitor, the lab assistant, and the old professor. You've gotten a head start, but there's only one way to safety: across an old rope bridge spanning a massive gorge. You can dash across in a minute, while the lab assistant takes 2 minutes. The janitor is a bit slower and needs 5 minutes, and the professor takes a whole 10 minutes, holding onto the ropes every step of the way. By the professor's calculations, the zombies will catch up to you in just over 17 minutes. So you only have that much time to get everyone across and cut the ropes. Unfortunately, the bridge can only hold 2 people at a time. To make matters worse, it's so dark out that you can barely see, and the old lantern you grabbed on your way only illuminates a tiny area. Can you figure out a way to have everyone escape in time? Remember, no more than 2 people can cross the bridge together. Anyone crossing must either hold the lantern or stay right next to it, and any of you can safely wait in the dark on either side of the gorge. Most importantly, everyone must be safely across before the zombies arrive. Otherwise, the first zombie could step on the bridge while people are still on it. Finally, there are no tricks to use here. You can't swing across, use the bridge as a raft, or befriend the zombies.
Right. You can try now. This is about how to test out your thinking pattern. If you stay with your own comfort zone, not able to get the answer. If you get the answer, please type in the chat. We only have 1 to 2 minutes. I repeat, you need to get everybody's from the 4 of you cross the bridge within 17 minutes. And each person take a different time to cross because of their age, their physical abilities. Second, the bridge only can hold 2 people at any time. Cannot have 3 persons or 3 people on the bridge, cannot. Anyone cross the bridge must hold the lantern. Yeah, this is a 3 condition.
So you're looking for suggestions in the chat, right, Steve?
Yes, they can write down the answer on the chat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. How are you going to get everybody to cross in 70 minutes?
It's a life and death situation.
Yeah, if you do the mathematics, 2 plus 1 plus 5 plus 10 is 18 minutes. Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Robert, anyone get the answer?
No, you can also look. Michelle Toyo said, get the slowest over walk, then the quick ones can kick a few steps and cut the rope. Really?
Do all the combination. There's a set of answer. Who should go first?
Come on, guys. This is an interactive Zoom meeting. We can be super interactive. We can have fun. This is our game. Anyone else? Are you there?
All right. Get the answer? Okay, let me show you the answer. See how do you get the correct answer or not. Huh?
Oh,
let's see the answer.
Okay.
Ready?
Answer is 3.
At first, it might seem like no matter what you do, you're just a minute or 2 short of time. But there is a way. The key is to minimize the time wasted by the 2 slowest people by having them cross together. And because you'll need to make a couple of return trips with the lantern, you'll want to have the fastest people available to do so. So,
the first one.
You and the lab assistant quickly run across with the lantern, though you have to slow down a bit to match her pace. After 2 minutes, both of you are across, and you, as the quickest, run back with the lantern. Only 3 minutes have passed. So far, so good. Now comes the hard part. The professor and the janitor take the lantern and cross together. This takes them 10 minutes, since the
slowest
janitor
of two
has to
cross
slow
on
down
second
for the
round.
old professor, who keeps muttering that he probably shouldn't have given the zombies night vision. By the time they're across, there are only 4 minutes left, and you're still stuck on the wrong side of the bridge. But remember, the lab assistant has been waiting on the other side, and she's the second fastest of the group. So she grabs the lantern from the professor and runs back across to you. Now, with only 2 minutes left, the two of you make the final crossing. As you step on the far side of the gorge, you cut the ropes and collapse the bridge behind you, just in the nick of time. Maybe next summer you'll just stick to the library.
Right, everybody got it? Okay, what did we see from this activity is a lot of us, when working too long in the corporate, the same setting, we kind of been conditions, or we call it corporate conditioning. The way we thinking is just the one perspective. But in this activity, tell us we need to actually come out from the comfort zone, look at things differently, change the way we're thinking pattern to solve things. You know, if this, a lot of people say we have to go for the faster one. And every time will be the number one, the faster to bring someone to cross the bridge, but you can't solve it in this way. But if you turn around and come out of the comfort zone, look at different way, perspective, you got the answer within a second, right? And from this activity also say, the convicts 19, right? The way that your employees react, the way that they want to do things working from home without tools. Are they able to do minor changes in the way they work from home? And not every time the big change will bring big result. A minor change, the way they're working will bring you result as well. Now, let's look at next one. Most of the time, the problem is not how to get the new thoughts into your mind, but is get the old one, as what Dr. Henry said. You need to unlearn and relearn. That's what I mean, right? If you're L&D professional or you are head of training and development, probably it's time that you look at the way that you manage your training functions, right? People can't be face-to-face anymore. How you want to do it? How you want to engage people through Zoom training or online virtual training? This is one way. So try to get this one point. Another one, if you are bringing change, this is a quote from Charles Darwin. It's not always the strongest survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one that most responsive to change. It means how you react to the change, how you react on it, and whether it's a company, it's individuals, even a businessman, how you react to environment, right? Thank you. Next, shall we move on?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to share with you one of the approach on self versus change. A lot of time, 10% of thing happen is called inevitable change. Example, what is inevitable change? You can't control weathers. You can't control someone pass away, you know. And this is something that you are not in control, right? But the difference between people who are responsive to change, what we call it, 90% is your reaction to this change, right? 10% is the event happen, 90% is the individual or corporate reaction to the change. When you choose a good reaction or right reaction, then you get the outcome or result desired. But most of us look at 10% is something that, okay, this I can't do anything. And they choose the wrong reaction to the change, then they don't get the outcome result that they desire. Right? Let me share with you next one. Well, this COVID-19 have changed the way we do things, even as an L&D professions, as a trainer, as a training consultant, as your employee. I highlighted 4 changes in employee training because of this COVID. First, well, businesses are not impacted or affected by the convicts. Of course, the CEO or the head the bosses might want to reduce or make some changes of training budget. The challenge for you is how you're going to utilize these limited budgets to reach your target. Are you going to prioritize your training? What kind of methods you're going to use, right? This is one thing. Second, a new paradigm for corporate training. Face-to-face is not doable at this moment because of the virus. And some of the company are looking at better blended experience. It means blended, it means that you can have live trainers plus all your assessment, plus all your e-learning self-paced and self-lead learnings, virtual live trainers, better user experience. Why? The new generation of learners, they would like something that's simple, user-friendly, not too much of a button looking around. They want something simple. If you get them complicated, they just say, I'm not interested to try. So we call it better digital user experience in learning. The third point would be innovation in training. Well, if you're L&D profession, time to think about, make some changes, how you want to engage your learner. Well, online or different learning methods, and how you're going to engage them better, right? And they are working from home, no more, you can't see them face to face. And the last point, this is still perceived. Some company leaders still have the very traditional expectation about L&D. Some of them look at it as a cost. And you as an L&D profession, how you're going to convince your bosses or your CEO, the owner of the, is to justify the training return on investment. And if you ask me the question, would that be able to quantify? Yes. It's only the tools that you use and the method that you use. There are many tools to measure level 1 to level 4. If you do that, you're able to justify why should we do this? What's the result of that? Business return on investment. And that's the changes I see in employee training. And one of the points that I have, I want to share with you is applicable to you at this moment. If you are leaders, is what we call emotional change, right? Now, let's read the message that's sent by your bosses. I want you to describe your feelings as you see the messages, right? You can write it down on the chat. Okay, the first message coming in. I'm sending you on an overseas assignment. Your boss is sending you the overseas assignment. Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling excited? Or are you feeling worried? Wow, the second SMS coming in. Is this for 6 months? Oh no, 6 months is too long. My wife or my husband will not allow me to go 6 months. Some of you say, yeah, 6 months of single life again. Right? So you start to see your feeling emotional change. Now the third message coming. Is this in Antarctica? You know where is Antarctica? It's on the north. And
What?
it's very cold.
You kidding?
It's a place that where if you stay longer, you make good friends with penguin. Right? Still feeling happy? Or say this is definitely no for me. The fourth one. If the project is not smooth, you might have stay up there up to a year. Well, if you cannot finish the project, you stay up there for a year. Who is still interested, excited to go for this assignment? Are you still excited? And you see, with this little bit of the short message from your boss, it will trigger your feelings, your emotion. And what we're trying to tell you is, the fourth one, the last one, always boss sound like this. You may not come back till the project over, right? This is serious, man. It can be 2 years or 3 years. Well, put it aside. Well, the feelings, the frustration, what we can tell you is everybody experience emotional cycle of change, right? It can be a positive and negative change. And if your staff, as you as a leader, you experience it, but only the trained leaders will know that, how you manage the emotionals time to time. Okay, how do you recover it in the shorter time? The experienced trained leaders will have a shorter time of recovery, but of course the employees, the normal employee, will take longer time to recover. But what we call it is the emotional cycle of change is triggered by something. We call it trigger. It can be triggered by a person. It can trigger by an event. It can trigger by some incidents. And you like it or not, some of you will say, I saw an email from this person, it triggered my feeling. Right? Without reading the email. Just see the name and the positions, right? This is normal. I'm going to tell you that emotional cycle change with your humans is normal to experience it, but how you manage to recover is the most important thing. Now, we're going to go to the last one. With the thinking and feelings, we categorize it as rational floodeds, which means most of the time you use a lot of rational. You don't use a lot of feelings, right? And you are not healing people's feelings as a leaders of a businessman, you know. And the other part we call emotional flood. You can see many individuals are emotional when they handle thing or they answer thing, you know. They don't think logic, they don't use their rational anymore. Well, of course, the best idea, optimum one, we call emotional balance. But how do you get to emotional balance? And why is this important in this COVID-19? Because the changes, this is something never happened before, but it's happening now. You like it or not, as a human, it triggers the thinking and the feelings, the change of lifestyle. Because the thought of feelings, in psychology-wise, it affects the behavior. The behavior affects the performance. And lastly, of course, the results. You like it or not, this is happening. Right. So with that, I would like to end my presentation. Hope to get some key points and I am able to answer your question in the Q&A. And thank you for your patience and thank you for your participation.